But Jackie still needs to find something she can work on herself.
Good afternoon. An elderly man has died and thousands are without power this lunchtime after Storm Isha swept in with gusts of up to 100 miles per hour. Emergency crews were called to Beancross Road in Grangemouth shortly before midnight following reports of a car crashing into a fallen tree. The 84-year-old car passenger was pronounced dead at the scene. Well, staying with the weather, and residents on a street in Cumbernauld have described the moment they thought a gas explosion had occurred when the storm ripped two roofs off of a block of flats. Debris was spotted flying off the buildings as winds built up last night before huge chunks then hit the ground. One woman says she now has water pouring down her walls and is scared her ceiling will be next to bear the brunt.
I was lying in bed and I know the wind was really, really strong. The wind was whistling through the flat, and all of a sudden I just heard this huge explosion. Honestly, it sounded like a bomb going off. At first I thought it was maybe a gas explosion. It was that loud. The debris was everywhere. It was really, really, really frightening. I was terrified. I was really scared.
Well, as you can imagine, Storm Isha has caused travel chaos across the country, with trains cancelled, roads disrupted and planes diverted due to the strong winds. Drivers faced treacherous conditions in Ayrshire last night. On the tracks, ScotRail stopped all trains until midday as debris damaged lines. Meanwhile, hundreds of holidaymakers were left stranded in Germany overnight when a flight from Tenerife to Edinburgh was forced to abandon landing at the last minute.
The plane was doing things that you just didn't expect it to do, you know. It seemed to almost turn corners in the air, you know. I mean, we're all shattered about. He's lying about everywhere, and couches and on the floor, and I mean, it looks like a refugee camp, you know. It's a real mess, the airport.
In other news, almost 700,000 households in Scotland face one or more forms of housing hardship. That's according to a Homes for Scotland. Be touch of
Cold conditions have eased down. Still very blustery out there just now, mind you. Lots of showers rattling in on that wind. Fairly fast moving showers though. Will be wintry over the tops of the mountains across the Highlands, northern parts of Stirlingshire. Now, showers should tend to ease later on tonight as the winds continue to ease down. As I say, it will be a quieter night, and because the winds will be a bit lighter, we'll see clearer skies later on. There is a possibility of a wee touch of frost in one or two spots. But then tomorrow we're right back to square one. More heavy rain spreading in from the west and strong and gusty winds developing, especially into the evening. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors Est.
It's like something futuristic.
Good afternoon. A man has died after the car he was in crashed into a tree brought down in high winds during Storm Isha. Police Scotland warned drivers to take extra caution after gusts reached 84 miles per hour overnight. There's also been widespread disruption on the rail network, while thousands of homes remain without power this afternoon. Katrina Renton has more.
In Grangemouth last night, an 84-year-old man lost his life after the car in which he was a passenger collided with a fallen tree. Storm Isha roared in, bringing disruption across almost the whole country. This was Loch Winnoch yesterday afternoon. From yesterday evening, everywhere except Shetland had an amber warning for wind, with parts of northeast Scotland covered through the night by a rare red danger to life warning of gusts of up to 100 miles per hour. A gust of 84 miles per hour was recorded in the village of Salisbury in North Lanarkshire. On the roads, Transport Scotland recorded locations with gusts over 70 miles per hour, and bridges were closed to high-sided vehicles. The storm may have eased, but the aftermath remains. Like for this man in Linlithgow, a tree fell in his car.
We arrived here, we were just going to get a chippy, and me and my daughter were walking out and just got to the corner and heard a crack. And the tree fell over and whacked all the cars.
And look what happened here in New Mills in Fife. This morning, disruption on the commute after all trains were cancelled last night. These passengers at Glasgow Central Station were hoping to go to London.
It's been travel chaos, as you can imagine. All the local transport links to Central Station have been cancelled. So we're looking at the board right now to see if we're going to get to London. It says delayed. It said that for about an hour now, so we're just waiting to see if we can get any updates.
We took a 5-day trip. We're trying to get back to London. I just got stuck here last night, so.
We've travelled from here, so to get a bus this morning, that was delayed, and then this is delayed. Hopefully we'll get there.
Around the country, approximately 94,000 homes were cut off. Almost 9,000 are still without power in the north of Scotland, and around 6,500 are waiting to be reconnected in southern and central Scotland. Last night, dozens of flights were diverted, including one from Tenerife to Edinburgh, which ended up landing in Cologne in Germany, as people try to get themselves where they want to be before Storm Jocelyn sweeps in tomorrow evening. Katrina Renton reporting Scotland.
Well, let's get the latest picture of the disruption on the transport network now. Our reporter Gillian Sharp is at Queen Street Station in Glasgow, which is seeing some services affected by damage sustained in the storm. Gillian, what impact is Storm Isha having this afternoon?
Well, as we were hearing there, the rail network was really badly affected in Scotland. ScotRail running no rush hour trains down to safety concerns. The Network Rail has been working hard to clear those lines to make sure that routes are safe to run trains again. They've been clearing trees, trampolines, even a shed and other debris from the lines at several points. Now here at Queen Street Station, at the low-level lines, a bit of boundary wall and fence from a nearby building blew onto the track. Now that's been proving very challenging to clear, but it's hoped that maybe in the course of the afternoon they will be able to clear that. Routes are beginning to reopen, and we're hearing news of that all the time. The East Coast Main Line south of Edinburgh, for instance, has reopened, as has the Aberdeen-Inverness route, other routes too. ScotRail says the situation is getting better, but it's telling passengers really they should check before they try and travel. It's not just trains, of course, and we were hearing some of that earlier too, but also roads, ferries and flights which have been affected.
Okay, Gillian, thank you. An inquiry has heard Scotland's Chief Medical Officer suggested deleting WhatsApp messages at the end of every day during the pandemic.